to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
It's so good. I keep looping it.
I did download it on Spotify.
You did?
So
okay.
I have it ready.
Good. We're talking about the stuff we ended last episode on. Now that we're like into the show, because we've just again, like go watch we clipped it, the ending to our last show, talking about the new music that came out the other week. It's just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the other drops to come from Meteor 20. I'm so excited. But okay, so Tuesday, we're here. You can go chill with us from Saturday as well. And the bulk of this episode is trade spec.
Yeah, I love speculation.
But yeah, so we just had a big, huge blockbuster break the other day. You can go watch our clip on the Ryan O'Reilly trade as well.
Yes.
And that one's getting the ball rolling on people thinking about who's going next.
And there's several big pieces to be traded, so I'm sure we'll get a whiff of that in the next upcoming, days or so, and leading up to the trade deadline in early March.
Trade deadline in early March for both winter sports, right?
Which ones?
For pucks and hoops.
Hoops already happened.
Hoops already happened? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I've said, I'm not the biggest basketball guy.
Yeah, no.
But...
NBA was earlier this year, so those moves have already happened. Yeah, so the rosters are basically set in the NBA now.
They are just coming out of their All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can bet on basketball games again.
Exactly. The All-Star game was a ton of fun. The over hit, and that was great. It was nice to see Donovan Mitchell back in Utah put on a show. He scored 40, but it was Jason Tatum who put on the biggest show of them all. He was unbelievable.
Well, don't forget
the record for points in an All-Star game.
Don't forget to bet on guys like Donovan and Jason Tatum with an official sports betting partner of the NBA in DraftKings Sportsbook. This week, new customers bet $5, get 200 in free bets instantly. You get your limited time, new and existing customers get a free no sweat same game parlay. If you go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today to opt in, you place your same game parlay on any NBA game, and if it doesn't hit, you get the free bet right back. So take it easy, have some fun.
Of course.
And we're recording this on the 21st, releasing it on the 22nd. Their break is still going on, so games don't come back until the 23rd.
Yeah.
And the Cavs have a fun one, and the Lakers have a fun one.
Yeah, the Cavs are playing the Nuggets, and that's going to be a very, very interesting test for them, kind of heading down the stretch here to see just exactly where they are. The Nuggets are one of the best teams in the NBA, obviously led by Nikola Jokic, who's unbelievable.
Mitchell versus Jokic, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. I mean, you got several good bigs in that game because, with the Nuggets, you've got Jokic and Aaron Gordon. With the Cavs, you've got Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. You've got some unique guards in the game with Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Darius Garland. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two teams match up. It's a good test for the Cavs to see where they're at, kind of heading towards this playoff push here. How they stack up against a legit title contender.
And with a game like Lakers Warriors, that's always fun because you get your two, California rivals, right?
California rivals, you get LeBron and Steph. Now, granted, I don't think Steph's going to be back. He's still hurt, I think.
Unfortunately, I think so.
Anytime you get like LeBron versus the Warriors, though, it's always entertaining.
Yeah,
He
especially
even had some
like
good matchups against them back in Miami.
I mean, it all comes back to the repeats and repeats and repeats of finals.
Yeah, of course.
Like just how
You know,
heated that became.
yeah, with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green and all those guys, a lot of them who are still there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll definitely be tuning into that.
And you can bet on LeBron to have one of his regular LeBron games, or you can bet on Donovan. You can bet on Jokic. You can bet on any of these guys, Mobley, with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Sign up with the code THPN. New customers bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code THPN. All of our disclaimer stuff, age restrictions, always down below. Now about Kepi Keepers. This is going to be a fun one, and I think I know exactly who we're both going to pick.
How bold of you to assume.
Well, you know what they say about assumptions, right?
Yeah. Make as many as you can.
Go for it.
I think I went first last time.
Did you?
I don't know. I just pulled that out of my ass. You very well could have gone first. I have no idea.
Because this is the thing, right? This is yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna go ahead and go first. And I'm gonna say it. It's the guy we've been ragging on all year long.
Yep.
Liam Foudy.
Oh God.
Liam Foudy's first.
Not.
Liam Foudy's
absolutely
first.
Not. No. That is just wrong.
Liam Foudy's first NHL goal, everybody. Come on.
My God.
Took you long enough, buddy.
Let's throw a parade. I mean, God damn. Giving a Kepi Keeper. No, absolutely not. I thought we were on the same page here. We actually were not. We actually were not. I'm going to give it to the guy who's been fantastic these last several games. It's been Korpi.
Very well deserved. I will.
It's Korpi, and it's not even close.
No. Well, okay.
They won that game because Korpisalo, they won that game in Dallas because Korpisalo was unbelievable. They didn't win that game in Dallas because Liam Foudy accidentally poked the puck into the net.
Okay, listen. Yes. So Korpisalo is a great pick. Korpisalo.
He's the only pick.
He is the only one that's been trying, that's been healthy over this recent stretch.
Trying a little too hard for my liking with this draft position shit. It's like you got him making 35 stops a night, being unbelievable for the Blue Jackets. And then Ducks fans are losing their minds over in Florida because Gibson made 50+ stops just to get them to overtime to get them a point. And then you got the Blackhawks beating the Leafs. All these teams that are supposed to be taking right now, we're all collectively losing our minds because we're why are we winning games?
No, because the Coyotes are doing the same thing. And it's wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay.
God, did Gary Bettman have a point when he said tanking's not a problem?
I mean, he might have, which is weird. But okay, so Korpi's a great pick, of course. And it helps him build his trade value up a little bit. Yeah. Because who knows if he's going to be dealt or what.
So what I saw from Portsline is that he is more than likely going to be dealt.
More than likely, yes. And we can get to that tweet soon.
Yeah, we will.
But yes. So let me justify number 19 for the love, please. We've belabored the point so many times.
Yes.
We've been dying to see this kid make the league, make the team out of camp at the start of the year. We were like, it finally happened.
Yes.
We get enough of a sample size to see, okay, he
This is
still
not
had,
an NHL player.
this isn't an NHL player. Where's a goal? Where's anything? And he finally gets his first goal 63 games in to his career.
Mm.
And it's just like,
I don't think it took Marty Brodeur that long to score his first.
it's about damn time for the Scarborough kid to do his thing. He finally did something. And we, like, even all this time where we were like, okay, seriously, send him down, bring Trey up. It doesn't matter.
Lose him on waivers. What do I care?
But I mean, come on, it's his first NHL goal. So
Congratulations.
little bit of flowers for
Corpy's the
Liam.
pick.
And
He is
yeah.
the only pick.
All right. And that's our Kepi Keeper by DraftKings. Corpy and Liam Foodie.
Yep. That was our Kepi Keeper. Mine was right and yours was wrong.
Come on now.
No.
All right. So yes, trade deadline is in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There's still some pretty decent names floating out there.
Do we want to start just with the Blue Jackets and then head more into the league?
I think we should, because that's our show.
Because I have a tweet here. This is trade tiers from Aaron Portsline.
Give me
Portsy.
yeah, because I think here. Very similar tweet from CBJ Center. Basically, this is the
tweet that I'm looking at, yeah.
the CBJ Center tweet. The same one? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So basically he goes into the article and he just says, okay, so here's the very, very TLDR breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
The inevitable trade, Vlad Gavrikov. I'm surprised I'm surprised.
It's gonna happen.
Like, it's going to happen, yes. I'm surprised it hasn't happened at any point today.
The reason it hasn't happened yet today is because Boston, the team that is most interested and the team that has the deal in place, is not cap compliant to make the deal.
Right.
So they need to make a move first before they can pull the trigger on a trade. And what this will do is it will allow potentially another team, if they catch wind of what the asking price is, like what the actual offer from Boston is, to maybe swoop in and present a better offer.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that will happen, but it is a possibility.
So time is ticking for the Bruins to get something done.
And it was pointed out by Portsline that Jarmo is not going to wait forever for Boston to be able to make the move. If another offer comes along, he will pull the trigger if he sees fit.
Yes. From the Bruins end of things, it's looking like the odd man out is more than likely Craig Smith.
Yep. A little surprising, only because I figured that the odd man out would have been Mike Riley.
Yeah, but they've also been able to send Riley down in order to make that work. He's been in the minors,
but since he is over $3 million, I'm pretty sure he still gets some of that cap hit like attached to the Bruins. I'm not sure if trading him would be enough to make them compliant. Maybe that's the issue. But if it is a move that would work, I would be surprised if that's not what they do. But as of right now, we know that Craig Smith is the one who is out.
Well, let's say this, because obviously we're just two dudes in our 20s.
Yep.
We're not capologists. We're not Brandon Pridham.
Furthest thing from a capologist. I genuinely don't know how the cap works most of the time. I can tell you how it works in Chell.
Yeah. I
cannot tell you how it works in real life, because some of these teams do the most whack job shit I've ever seen in my life. Remember when we were talking in the off season and the Canucks had $38 in cap space?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did that even happen?
I have no idea. Well, because it's like you had before LTIR, Vegas only had like $10.
Yeah.
And then you have guys like on the other end of that are working with such huge cap hits in so little amounts of players, Toronto, that you need to have guys like Brandon Pridham pull some
Yeah.
like devil magic to make the Ryan O'Reilly trade work.
Yeah, and you have to trade extra assets in order to make it work because you have to have third teams come in to retain some salary to make it all happen. Like it's crazy. So yeah, like what we know is the easiest fix here for Boston is just to dump Craig Smith somewhere, get the cap space, then make the move for Vlad Gavrikov. That would make their defense absolutely complete, in my opinion.
My problem with that is I don't think, personally, I think a better offer will come sooner.
This is the one question I have about this deal in particular is we have known for a while that the asking price is similar to that of David Savard, which was a first and a third. And it came out today that that is supposedly around what the offer is.
It's a 1, a 3, and a 4 the last time I read anything.
So that was a few days ago, but what I heard today was a first and a third.
Just 1 and 3? Okay.
My question, though, is there's also a report today that the Blue Jackets very, very much like Mason Lohrei.
Yes.
For obvious reasons. Good, talented defenseman, plays at Ohio State.
He's a Buckeye boy.
Buckeye boy, familiar with the city. And, no problem adding to the defensive, prospect pool.
No.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Look at what you're doing now.
So I wonder if that is another route that they may go with a Boston trade.
Now, let me mention this while we're on Gavrikov, who's like a for sure target for teams, right?
Yes,
this
he
is
played his last game as a Blue Jacket. He
this
will
is
be traded.
This is something that we talked about earlier today. That like it's driving me crazy. It's driving everybody else crazy. This is the first year that I've really ever seen healthy scratches for trade-related reasons.
So it's been more egregious this season. It's not the first time we've seen it. I personally don't have a problem with it.
This is the first time, though, that I've seen it like in this like crazy, because Gavrikov, Chychrun, these are the two main culprits of this. Well, examples.
Tyler Mott was held out of the lineup before he got traded to the Rangers.
These guys are being scratched for over a week, Jay.
Yeah.
My problem with this is you want to build these guys' trade values, right? You want to build these values. How else are you going to build their value and evaluate players if they're not playing?
I'm not sure I agree because I don't think a difference of 3 games is going to impact anyone's trade value. Unless you score 10 goals in those 3 games. I highly doubt that you're going to get significantly more compensation by playing a guy 3 extra games, 4 extra games, than just keeping them out. Their value is what their value is. And the only thing that can significantly change the value of the player is an injury.
Well, this is a smaller trade that happened today. But like the big example that I'm thinking of is Tyler Mott went back to the Rangers today.
Yeah.
And he was only held out the 1 game as he got traded today.
Yeah. Which felt strange. Tyler Mott is not typically a name that you see getting scratched for trade related purposes.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Is
Yeah.
he was able to play and increase that value a little bit more.
His value was
And
what it was, though. I don't think his value changed because he played a couple extra games.
But that's,
especially since there's familiarity there with the Rangers. They've already had the player.
you see what my point is, though, right?
I disagree
like-
with your point. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm just saying that, like,
I get
And
the
I-
frustration of players being forced to kind of sit around for a week. I imagine that's very frustrating for the players.
I know at least they still get to practice.
Yeah.
So at least they're not just sitting at home all the time.
Yeah, they're not sitting around eating Burger King all day.
Or
and going to
Sonic.
those Whopper.
Or Sonic double cheeseburger.
So yeah, I don't want to say I totally 100% disagree with you because there has to be frustration from not playing in these games.
Yeah.
These players like to play. They want to play. They want to get involved. I know that it has been a noted frustration of Vlad Gavrikov as he has very patiently waited for this.
Yes.
But understanding in terms of value, the difference of 3 or 4 games is really nothing.
It's weird.
The only thing that changes your trade value is an injury, and that's what these teams are desperately trying to avoid.
I more like in one way or another get it with a guy like Chikrin. Because on one hand, we've known that this was going to be their move, like all season long.
This is different than Gavrikov because this is just shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
This guy's been on the trade block for 18 months.
So it's
Either
like
trade the guy or don't.
So it's like we've known about this for such a long time, and yet it's just like he's still young enough for him to get out there and like develop more of his game. So like let him play.
He's what, 24?
Yeah.
It's like he's 24. He's got term. I understand like a big part of keeping Chikrin out is because he has a little bit of an injury history.
Mm-hmm.
But like for me, my issue with the Coyotes isn't them keeping him out of the lineup. It's just you've known forever that you were going to trade this player. And yet you continue to play the player throughout the course of the season, and you don't make a move. You wait until the last second.
You barely you don't report.
You could have made a
on
move last year. You could have done it in the offseason. Like when are you going to do it?
There's no progress in any talks. It's like we hardly even know. Like we still only know so much about the handful of teams that are going after a guy like Chikrin, right? There's so many teams that
value. We can theorize the value of a player like Jacob Chikrin, which should be high because he's talented. But like at least we know that it's a first and a third for Vlad Gavrikov.
Yes.
We don't know what the value is of Chikrin.
We don't know what they're asking for at all. It's like
happening.
But we can get to we can rant about Chick more in a minute. So yes, Gavi is the inevitable, obvious trade.
Yes.
We've been on this little tangent for a bit. We need to keep going. Likely Joonas Korpisalo. Cheap cap hit.
Yeah, super cheap. $1.4 million. This should be a no-brainer for teams, especially with the way that he's played this season. I'm really happy for him because he has absolutely proven me wrong this season. And it's good for him for 2 reasons. One, he's going to potentially get to go to a playoff caliber team and maybe play some playoff hockey, which he's done well in. He's only gone once, but he played well in it.
The 85 saves, come on.
2 is this season he has had, he's undoubtedly going to make some money in this offseason.
Yes, he will absolutely. I would say he would get at least a $3.5 million raise.
I was thinking something similar to potentially the Chris Driedger deal.
Yeah, somewhere
maybe
around
like 3.5.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Or maybe he gets close to 4. I don't know, but he's definitely
going to
get a significant pay increase.
Yes, a big raise. Just based off, I mean, like we've been hard on Corpy in the past because
he's deserved it.
His good seasons were outlier seasons to this point.
Yes. I don't think anything we've said in the past about Joonas Korpisalo has been wrong. I just think he's shown up this season fully healthy,
Mm-hmm.
fully locked in, and he's played well.
Yeah.
And he deserves all the credit for that. But unfortunately, as much as I've enjoyed watching him this season and as impressed as I've been with him this season, we're
Mm-hmm.
just not in a position to keep him. You've got Daniil Tarasov, who's obviously the guy you think is the future, who's locked up for 2 more years after this and will surely be locked up after that again.
Mm-hmm.
And he requires waivers now to go to the minors, so it's not really an option.
Oh boy.
And you've got Elvis, who has the contract that he has.
Yeah, and we've talked about Elvis's deal enough.
I do wonder this. I wonder if there's any possibility that they trade Korpisalo with the end goal of, if they can get a deal done early enough in the offseason, maybe they can go back down that road again with Corpy.
To get him back?
Yes, in free agency.
Maybe.
If you can get a deal done to get rid of Elvis, I wouldn't be surprised if that was an avenue that they looked down.
I mean, we've seen players do that.
Yeah. I'm not saying like that's like 100% like that's what they're going to do or they're looking at it, but I think that there is a possibility that they consider it.
But like we've seen those kind of like playoff rentals where they go out and then they come right back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that kind of thing. So maybe that is something that they explore, right?
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe they ride it out with Corpy through the end of the year and work out an extension anyway, or he leaves and
exactly. This was
success
categorized
elsewhere.
as likely, and I think it is likely, but it's not a certainty. So
Right.
that's something that could happen too.
So who knows? Guys on the radar, Gus Nyquist.
So he's interesting because he would not fetch a significant return, obviously, but he would be a guy that a team would maybe acquire in order to get some extra LTIR space on top of, being able to potentially use him in the playoffs if he's back.
This is a Kucherov move.
Yeah.
More or less, this is kind of a Kucherov move that you make, right?
This would legitimately, and it says here in the article, I 100% agree. It suggests that a conditional late round pick is likely with a chance of moving into the middle 6 rounds based on his availability.
I would say the absolute...
like a conditional 6th that turns into a 5th.
Yeah, somewhere between a 6th and a 7th that could maybe upgrade to like a 5th.
Yeah.
Basically, the majority of that is because of Nyquist being on LTIR for the remainder of the season. He is older. He's one of those guys we love him. We've loved his time here. And I mean, if he, decides to come back as a free agent, that'd be great. If not, and he wants to go chase a cup, do your thing, Gus.
Absolutely.
Like, he's done enough for us, and we thank him for that.
I do like him, regardless if we trade him or not. I don't want them to bring him back, and it's nothing against the player. It's more so just keeping a spot available for your young guys.
Yes.
And that's all it comes down to.
Keeping a guy like a Kirill Marchenko in the lineup.
Well, for me, Kirill is in the lineup.
Well, yeah, he's a lock there, but it's like you bring in a guy like Engel maybe, or...
I was thinking, you want to make sure you have a spot available 100% for Chinikov when he comes back.
For Chinny, yes, absolutely.
So, and then the last one for
on the radar
is Peeke. Not sure something gets done at the deadline for him.
People have been talking about Peeke. Like that's a name that's up. Like been floating around here and there.
This is what I'll say about Peeke. By next offseason, so not this upcoming draft, but the draft after this one.
24.
When that draft happens, at some point between now and then, he will no longer be a Blue Jacket.
I don't know, because I've mentioned this before. He's been talked about as a guy, like a rotational guy in the young portion of the D-core.
Yeah.
Like he's no spring chicken, but he's still one of the younger guys.
He's a young guy with some term. They definitely like him, but I think there is a legitimate possibility that they're getting some decent offers for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that these rumors won't go away is because as they continue to get these offers, they're considering it more and more. And they might just wait it out until they get an offer that they really like and call it a day.
And you can very well do that because you have your Adam Boqvists, you have your Nick Blankenberg in particular.
Well, let's be 100% honest about this, okay?
And the good Branson
I love
term
Blank.
is, yeah.
That's, yes. It's because of Eric Branson.
It's just...
I know nobody wants to hear that. I'm speaking entirely from my perspective of the Blue Jackets management group.
Yes.
It's because of Eric Branson. Regardless if you like him or not, I certainly don't like him. His production stinks. He's not been very good for us, but he fits the bill of what Andrew Peeke does, and he makes more money. He's older, he's more experienced, and they've got other right-hand shot defensemen who are young that they like, and they can get a decent amount for Peeke. So at some point, I think they're going to move on.
The problem that makes this with Andrew and Goody such a logjam is the way that the Goodbranson deal has been structured.
It is 100%. If you signed him just to a 4x2, good Lord, at least sure, is $4 million a lot for him? Of course it is. We've always known that, but God, at least you'd only have one more year of it.
Yeah.
You could buy it out for all I care. You're going into year 2 of this next year. There's 3 more years to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the term really squeezes what you can do with the players you can keep and the cap space that you have. Think about the guys that are going to need raises soon, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what can you do? You're paying Eric Branson $4 million a year.
Yeah. Untouchables, we'll just go by these because these are obvious. I don't think we have to go too in depth. Boone Jenner, Johnny Gaudreau, David Yurchak, Kent Johnson, Kirill Marchenko, Cole Sillinger, Zach Werenski.
Absolute untouchables. Those are your core guys that are never going away.
I'm listening, ... Not on the block, but not unavailable.
Yes.
Patrick Laine, I don't totally 100% agree with that.
I don't either.
I don't either. I don't anymore. So yeah. Jack Roslovic, I'm surprised is not higher.
Mm-hmm.
Now
I'll say this. So regarding these two in particular, right? You just signed Laine to a 4-year bridge, and you're hopeful that he is going to be clicking with Johnny Gaudreau and be there as your long-term guy.
And he's improved his play driving a lot. He's actually gotten a little bit better defensively.
His back checking's improved. Yeah.
I like his game this season. I know he's not piling up the goals like people expected.
But his playmaking, too, makes up for that.
Yeah. So I'm not really too concerned about Patrick Laine. My only concern with him that might put him into this I'm listening category is just durability more than anything.
Durability and maybe a little bit more attitude. And I think personally, and this is nothing against Aaron, because we love the guy. You've talked with him.
Yeah.
You know, good at his job. But putting Laine on that list, like in that portion of the list, really is just a drive for clicks to me.
I'm not 100% certain. To be honest, I don't agree. I would imagine that it is very likely that he is kind of put into that category, and more so in the sense of like they're not shopping him.
Right.
They're just not going to decline any calls. You're going to have to absolutely blow them away. Right. The reason I don't like these two players in this category is because I don't view that in the same way. I don't think that Jack Roslovic should be seen in that light. Jack Roslovic shouldn't be oh, well, we're not going to hang up the phone, but you got to blow us away. No, they should be
No, no, no,
actively
no.
shopping this player.
That's the
They should
difference.
be looking to move this player.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Line A is a guy that you can listen, but you really need like the highest end offer possible, right? Jack, he's a middle to bottom six center / wing who's young enough, has potential, but still like he's frustrating and inconsistent. And yeah.
So just to get through these rest of these, heavy contracts, term or salary are both too large to move. Elvis and Erica Branson, no shock there. Neither of these guys are getting moved at the deadline. Those would be off-season moves. They're not going to move good Branson. They're probably going to move Elvis. Value in over value out, aka they're worth more to the Jackets than they would garner in a trade. That's Blanks, Boqvist, Chinikov, Danforth, Corrali.
That makes total sense.
Murky middle. These are lower lineup guys who are depth guys or deal sweeteners. Gavin Bayreuther, Jake Bean, Emil Bemstrom, Tim Burney, Liam Foudy, Carson Meyer, Matthew Olivier, Lane Peterson, Eric Robinson.
Move Liam, please.
And then there's just the prospects.
Right. And like prospects are always chippy, like
they're not going to be moving any of them because obviously these are the guys that they're going to be building around for the future.
Yeah.
So I'm not too good. If they move any of them, it'll be a lower end prospect.
Right. It would be someone out of the top 15 that we've previewed previously.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will say this little follow-up tweet, it should be noted that he classified these as informed speculation based on perceived availability. So his is just as speculative as our talk here.
Ours. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's essentially what Columbus can do.
Yeah. Which is a little surprising. They don't, like, for a team that's been as bad as we are, that we don't have a couple more pieces to sell off, but that's just kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
and a lot of it has to just do with expiring contracts.
A lot of it's expiring deals and deals that have too much term to them. That it's like, how can you move this right now?
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, though, if you had to give me like a top 3 of guys I would trade this deadline, it would be obviously Gavrikov. It would be I'm definitely moving Jack Roslovic.
That's my thing with Jack is,
and then Korpi would be my last one.
I would move Jack, but at the same time, and I know I gave him my Kepi today, but it's like I have such foodie blinders that I'm just like, get this guy out of my lineup. I don't care how.
The problem is they're not going to get him out of the lineup because they're not going to send him down because they don't want to put him through waivers because they're worried they're going to lose him, which I would be too. I mean, anytime you have the opportunity to keep a guy who can score 1 goal every 64 games, you have to.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. So trading Jack makes no impact on whether or not they're going to take Liam Foudy out of the lineup. And that's why I say like you do it, because I don't like this. Ports even said it in the article. He's like, as time goes on, his future with the team gets more and more unclear.
Jax?
Yeah. It was pretty unclear last year before he signed his extension. He signed his extension. Sure, it's only 2 years, but we thought like, oh, this makes it more clear. We know what to expect now. But no, like it just I don't have any clarity on him.
Well, it's the inconsistency in how he puts up his points.
Yeah.
And it's the inconsistency of where he is in the lineup at any given point.
What is he? Is he a center? Is he a wing?
He's played all 4 center positions just in this season alone.
And I'm sure he's played damn near almost every wing position this year, too.
It's just like,
I mean, good God.
Justin Danforth is your Swiss Army player, not Jack Roslovic. Pick a spot with Jack and keep him there.
Justin Danforth got a legit future with this team.
Yeah.
He's going to be, he's only going to have 1 year left on his contract hitting into next year, but I'm certain that they're going to try and get something done with him. They like
and
him.
I would think you could extend him pretty cheap too.
Yeah. So I like Justin Danforth for the future for this team. I know he's not going to be a big part of the future, but those bottom 6 guys are important, and I like his versatility.
A guy like Justin, you can put him up in the top in a pinch, and yeah.
This is why I like Justin Danforth, because there's versatility with the player. So it's not just, oh, we don't know what he is. We know what he is, but we can do different things with him.
We like that he can do so many different things.
We know generally where he's going to be played. We know what we have in Sean Corrali.
Yes.
Jack Roslovic's way more talented hockey player than Sean Corali is, but we know what Corali is.
But he's got a spot.
Center.
He has a defined spot.
Hell, Eric Robinson's got a damn defined spot.
Matthew Olivier has a wing. Yeah, Matthew Olivier has a defined spot. He plays on that right wing.
I don't know what Jack Roslovic is. I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with, and this goes back to the mistreatment of Cole.
Yeah.
Because you've played Cole in that middle 6, swapped so much, and on the 4th line.
Yeah.
And then you make Jack your first line center when Boone's injured, and it's like, what's Rosie? What is he?
I'll tell you what he is. A trade chip. Or what he should be. Don't know if he is. It sounds like he's not, which I disagree with. He should be traded.
See, Vegas chip?
No.
Worth $5. So this time of year, January, February, we're all about resolutions, right?
Yeah.
Trying new things, trying to do big things. Everybody always wants to do big things in a new year.
Of course.
And everyone thinks that we need to, even after the holidays, go all out and spend more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. With going to the gym and whatnot, that's the biggest one.
Yeah. And you pay for a gym membership and it costs you an arm and a leg for 6 months, and then you don't go. And
yeah, you go for 6 days. That's it.
Most of the time, though, you don't really need to break the bank for these things.
No.
Especially for things that you use every day. Like earbuds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Raycon's a great cheap option.
Of course.
Premium audio at the perfect price point. And Raycons, for me, personally, I work, you guys know where I work. I walk everywhere, and I work at the back of house in a restaurant. Mm-hmm. So I put on my own music, my own podcasts, and Raycons really help with that.
Yeah, we talk about sound quality for music. It's incredibly paramount for podcasts too. If you're listening to us, you want to make sure that the sound quality of us is good too.
You want to make sure our sound quality is good. If you're a big STP guy, you want to make sure you're hearing Steve's screaming or Adam and Jesse's weird hot takes.
Yeah. Hear Steve talk about getting owned by Brad Marchand on Twitter.
Oh, can we talk about that later?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. But yeah, Raycons are the perfect option because they're a lot cheaper. They're low latency. They last a lot longer than your typical earbuds.
Mm-hmm. Durability is very important for earbuds.
Durability and battery life. Battery life especially.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah. Raycons also start at half the price of your normal everyday earbuds, which is great.
Yeah, that's
Like-
the big sell here, right?
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? You don't want to end up spending like hundreds of dollars on your earbuds.
God no.
And you don't even really have to choose with Raycons. You can get one of each or a pair and a spare. Like I can use a certain colored pair for going on walks downtown and then a certain colored pair at work.
Yeah.
Kind of fun that way, right?
A little bit. I think so.
And even now, if you don't love them as much as we do, Raycon wants to make sure that you will. So, like I said, the noise isolation is one thing that's amazing.
Yes.
It's
Especially
funny
on
that
airplanes.
it's funny working in like in a place where you need to communicate though, and then you put your stuff in.
And you're like, why are you communicating with me? This is the whole purpose of putting these in.
Let me wash my dishes in peace. If you need something, tap my shoulder.
Yeah.
So yes, the noise isolation is great, especially if you just need time to yourself. The custom gel tips, like I said, you can put any different colors, mix and match them, make them look nice, make them look weird.
Yeah.
If you're that kind of guy. And of course, the clear, amazing sound and call quality.
Yeah, call quality too.
Yeah, because a lot of times people need them for phone calls, right?
Yeah, if you ever gone to an airport, you'll just see people just talking on their phones with their earbuds in.
If you're at an airport, if you're in your car.
Yep.
All of
Although
that.
you probably shouldn't be wearing, any kind of earphones in your car. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Unless you're like passenger or back seat.
Bluetooth headset.
Yeah. Can't wear them while you're driving.
Fair enough. But yeah, are you ready to buy something small with a big impact? Go to raycon.com/THPN today and get 15% off your Raycon order. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com/THPN. All right, let's get to
red 34, please.
let's get to everybody else. All right. So
Do you want to start out in Vegas?
Everybody else in the league, let's start in Vegas. So the big development from Vegas today is that Mark Stone is on long-term injured reserve again. This poor fella. I feel so bad for this guy.
Yeah, first off, we'll start with that. Poor Mark Stone. Like, God.
He is legitimately a player that I love him to death, but it's just like you can't help but feel bad
I love
for
his
him.
game. Yeah, like injuries suck, especially when they hinder players like that.
When they hinder one of the best defensive wingers that you've ever seen.
Yeah. He's phenomenal.
He's captain. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
He's such a huge part to what Vegas is.
With that, though, it provides
a lot. Yes, it does. That's your favorite word, isn't it?
It is.
And here's the thing. So his cap hit that's going on long term is $9.5 million.
Well, shit, that's only $1 million less than $10.5 million.
And you know who makes $10.5 million?
Who?
Peeke 88.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say Peeke Subban.
I would have loved to have said Peeke Subban.
So
God, imagine Peeke Subban being a $10.5 million defenseman.
He was at one point in his career.
So yes, Patrick Kane is
inevitably going to be traded by the Blackhawks, I think.
So here's
a scenario where it makes sense for them just to hold on to him.
Let's talk about this part. So he personally, right?
Yeah.
Has wanted either the Rangers or the Maple Leafs.
He's got something for original 6 teams, which makes sense that he would be dealt to the 31st team added to the league. No, I totally get it. I mean, he obviously loves playing in the big market. He obviously loves playing for the big brand, and
he's been a Blackhawk his whole career.
Blackhawk his whole career.
3-time Stanley Cup winning winger, scored a Stanley Cup winning goal.
There's not many markets that have a bigger fan base or a larger media presence than the Blackhawks, but Rangers and Leafs are 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he loves the bright lights. We've seen him in the playoffs. He loves the big moment. And, look, he's won 3 cups, but 3's great, but 4's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't you want the Fantastic Four?
I don't know about that. As long as it's not maybe the Roger Corman Fantastic Four would be a little more intriguing.
So, obviously, the Rangers go out. They get Tarasenko. We talked about that. The Leafs go out. They get Ryan O'Reilly.
Well, that's the thing. Patrick was very vocal about that Rangers trade.
Yeah.
He was extremely vocal about that Rangers trade. And then, almost a couple of days later, he gets vocal about Kirby Dach. You remember this happening?
I didn't see that.
You didn't see
that? What did he say?
He said that Blackhawks management mistreated Kirby Dach. Mishandled his development, mishandled the trade.
Shit. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I didn't see that he said that, but thank you, Patrick Kane, for saying the thing that everyone thinks.
Yeah.
Good Lord, just look at his production. You say that the Blackhawks did a terrible job developing him. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Look at what he's doing under Marty St. Louis.
So now he said that, right? So now that's out there, and now the Blackhawks and Kyle Davidson are just like, okay, shit. How do we get this done as quick as possible now that we're in the hot seat? Right?
So, right.
Kane so far this year has played in 52 games. He's got 14 goals, 27 assists for 41 points. He's second on the team in goals and assists and points, behind Max Domi, who's having a hell of a year.
Goals with 14.
Max has 15. That leads the Blackhawks.
Good God.
And they're both tied with 27 assists.
So, a couple things on Patrick Kane. Okay. One, I had no idea about the Kirby Dach thing. I think that's very interesting. But
yeah,
the first thing is, it is obvious to the analytics community and anybody who watches the Blackhawks that the guy has obviously slowed down.
Regressed very hard. He is 34.
The analytics for him these last 2 years are unfathomably bad.
They're god-awful.
However, having watched him in these last few games prior to the trade deadline, it reeks of a player who has had absolutely no interest in playing for the Blackhawks these last 2 years.
He's desperately playing his ass off to get out of Chicago.
4 points in his last game, including a hat trick against the Leafs.
Yeah.
I do think he has aged. I do think he has taken a step back. I don't think he is the player that the analytics suggest.
Right.
I think a lot of that is due to perhaps a very, very laxed approach from the player. And I think a trade for him going to a playoff team could absolutely bring him back a bit here.
I'm sorry. I'm distracted. I'm looking at their goalies.
So this brings up a unique opportunity for teams because, one, his value is not going to be super high because his play has not been to the standard of Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
2, he's super expensive in terms of cap hit, so the Blackhawks are going to have to retain some of that salary.
If not make the Vegas deal where they only really need so much space to make that work.
And now that the Rangers and the Leafs are essentially out of it because they're not going to be able to afford the player, it limits what the Blackhawks can do.
Yes.
And this is where the Vegas Golden Knights come into play.
Yeah.
This team is so obviously concerned about making deep runs in the playoffs. They want to win a cup. That's always been the goal of their management. Whether you like it or not, whether you agree with how they go about their business, totally fair.
Yes, and we've discussed their business dealings like plenty.
Yeah. The one thing you cannot say is that they don't care about winning. They care a great deal about it.
So does Patrick Kane, and here's the big thing with Vegas as well. Big fish hunting, big game hunting, right?
Yep. And look, I know it's not the market that he was essentially looking for in, a Toronto or a New York. It's not the same media presence, but he's not exactly going to, be away from the spotlight in Vegas.
It's Vegas, baby. Come on.
It's Vegas. So he'll be playing on a team with Jack Eichel. And eventually when Mark Stone gets back, they've got so many big names on the team. They're trying to win a cup. They're good this year. They've got a great coach in Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah.
I think it's a fit. Now, what do they give up? I have no idea.
But who knows?
100% sure. Maybe they give up the prospect that they got in the Marc-Andre Fleury deal.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think that contract might be terminated.
It was terminated.
It was? Okay. Yeah. God. Jeez. Okay. So yeah, because that's the funny thing is we don't even know what the ask is for Patty Kane.
No idea.
We have no clue. Stick him, and so who knows where Kaner's still going to go. Let's hope.
My prediction, Vegas.
Probably Vegas, but we'll see, right? Quick thing before we get into the other guy in Chicago, just to touch real fast. The goalies, like I said, I was distracted looking at this. The goals against averages for these guys are hilarious in terms of the top three. So Alex Stalock leads the team in goals against average with a 2.7.
Ooh. Stay locking it down.
Yeah, he is. That was actually pretty good. I got to give you a cookie for that.
Yeah. Damn right you do.
Jackson Stauber is second.
That is a name that I've never heard of prior to the game against the Leafs.
Exactly, right? He has a 2.77.
Damn.
Number 3, another guy you've probably never heard of, Dylan Wells.
I have heard of him.
He doesn't have a number listed. He has a $ and position in parentheses. It's hilarious. That's how the NHL app has him listed. He has a 3 even. That's your top 3 in goals against average.
Interesting. So Jackson Stauber was at Minnesota State at Mankato, and then he went to Providence. I did not know that. Continue.
Arvid Soderblom is 4th with a 3.45. And then number 5 is the guy that is Peter Mrazek. This is gonna blow you away. You ready for this?
404.
3.95 goals against average. So you want to know how they're doing in the Bedard race? Just ask Peter Mrazek.
Let me tell you, the biggest move the Blackhawks made in the offseason was trading that pick to get Peter Mrazek. Not because they got a first-round pick out of it, but because they got a goaltender who could help them lose hockey games.
Because they got Peter Mrazek, who doesn't know where his posts are. Okay, so Taser, real quick on Jonathan Taves. The other guy that has a $10.5 million hit on the Blackhawks. The other guy who's been, he's been their captain forever. He
had a weird couple of years.
Had a weird couple of years with his health.
Yeah.
The COVID shortened year, I think he only played like maybe not even 10 games, if he even played at all.
Yeah.
Due to some like mystery illness at the time. And what we know now, because he's sick and on LTIR again, he's out for the rest of the year. This season, he's dealing with long COVID.
Okay.
And you said this, he's probably finished.
Yeah, I believe this for a couple of reasons. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, one, just pay attention to your health.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Okay?
Well, originally they were going to shop him for teams looking for a nice like third line center option, right? That was the original intention with that.
There's a couple of other reasons that I think you do this. Okay. He is different from Patrick Kane in the sense that it feels like Patrick Kane, like, you know, he's been a Blackhawk his entire career, but like we've known, I think, for a little bit now that he probably wasn't going to finish his career as a Blackhawk.
Right.
It never felt to me like that was going to be the case for Jonathan Toews.
Right.
I get the sense from Toews that he has more interest in just hanging it up than playing for another team. Like, I think he only wants to play for the Blackhawks, but he also has absolutely zero interest in going through a rebuild.
Right, yeah.
So you've won your 3 cups, you've made all your money. Not to mention, on top of this, you're dealing with different health problems. Why not just hang it up and just call it a career? You've been a Blackhawk for life. That is my rationale on why and what I think will happen and why I think it'll happen that way.
He's obviously getting his number retired and all of that comes with that. You know, 2010 off ice aside.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, we know both of them were centric towards that in the locker room and making that gross. Yeah. But that whole case aside, Kane more than likely to move than Toews. And now with him out for the rest of the year being sick and dealing with this kind of thing, it's just like
moved. Because here's the thing, like, he's not going to be traded now. Do you see him signing with the Blackhawks in the offseason on an extension?
Not at this age, no. And with what he's going through.
See him signing a deal elsewhere?
That's the funny thing is, you know, he's a Winnipeg boy. Right?
Yeah, sure.
I personally, I can't see it, but I mean, it's possible.
Potentially something to look out for, maybe.
Yeah.
If he has an interest in continuing to play, maybe that is something that he could look for. But yeah, I mean, he's played in 46 games this season. He missed the entire 2020-2021 season.
Yes.
Didn't play any games. Last year he played 71. So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious as to what happens moving forward with him. But for some reason, I just get the sense that it's kind of just it.
Who knows, right? The other big name that's, you know, everybody's swirling around is Timo Meier.
And now the Blues are interested.
The Devils are the big player in this.
Yes. They have been for a while. Obviously, they have a lot that they can offer. They've got a ton of picks. Mm-hmm. They've got Alexander Holtz, who doesn't seem to be fitting into what they want to do, but it's still a very young player who's selected very high, who's obviously got a good shot.
Yep.
They've got other young players in their lineup that they like, but are probably going to be willing to move to get Timo Meier.
Guys like Zetterlund and
Zetterlund, I think, is a very good player. I know San Jose likes him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, it's Timo Meier, man. I would have no issue trading a guy like Dawson Mercer, and I like Dawson Mercer.
Maybe Yegor Sharangovich, and I like Shara.
Yeah, he's absolutely another name that should be involved with that too. To me, like this is where like I think a lot of Devils fans, like I see the because obviously I follow a lot of Devils fans.
I mean, so do I. We see that with Neil and Alex and guys like that all the time.
Ton of friends who are Devils fans.
Yes.
I'm
sure Mel
I'm not taking a shot here at them when I say I know it's been a while. But
Mel might have thought about it. I'll be honest with you.
She's had some interest in Buchnevich, actually.
Oh, has she? Okay.
So that's more so where she's at right now. But when it comes to making trades, and I don't mean to sound patronizing when I say this, but it is a concept that some fans can't grasp. You have to trade players to get players.
You have to get rid of guys that fans usually enjoy.
Because they're good. You're not going to dump a player you don't like to get a Timo Meier. It's just not going to happen. So, sure, I know there's a lot of Devils fans who are like, oh, I don't want to trade Dustin Mercer. Yeah, and I don't blame you for not wanting to trade a young guy like that who's really good. But Dawson Mercer, I like.
Yeah.
He's not a goddamn Timo Meier.
You got to give something to get something, people.
It's a big concept.
I mean, well, like think about this in terms of time, right? And what I'm going to relate it to deals that we've made in the past, right? The PLD trade. Sure. Pierre-Luc Dubois, very young player. I enjoyed him at the time. Didn't want to be here. Still a very talented guy.
In the sense that that's a player requesting a trade.
But still, like what I'm saying is you get talent for talent, right?
Yeah.
When you get Patrick Laine for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They didn't pan out, but I did like Vitaly Abramov.
Yeah.
I did like Jonathan Davidson. I had no problem trading those guys in order to
Matt Duchene for a playoff push. Come on.
Yeah. So I liked Anthony Duclair.
I love Duclair.
Getting rid of him for Ryan Dzingel. Now Dzingel didn't work out.
Unfortunate.
But at the time, I was absolutely willing to do that because I thought that he would have been a fit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give in order to get. So
yeah,
we'll see. I think the Devils are the favorite to get him.
Yes.
We'll see if it works out. They have to be willing to part with some of these pieces to get him. My concern is I do like Tom Fitzgerald as a GM.
Mm-hmm.
I worry about his aggressiveness when it comes to some of these bigger moves.
Yeah, I will say, so like the Leafs are out now that they've got Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, they're totally out.
They found their solution there, right?
So they're going to pay attention to defense and whatnot. But
so, like the Leafs are out of the question.
The Rangers are out of the question.
Rangers got Tarasenko, so they got their guy.
Yep.
Bruins are looking more towards defense, so they're looking towards Gav.
Yeah, not to mention, I'm not sure they need anything change up front offensively.
Especially after Pastrnak scored his 40th.
Yeah,
I think you're fine.
Carolina's a big suitor for Timo Meier. That's another.
Carolina's another. Yeah. Carolina is definitely a team to keep your eye on.
So this is where I'd be a little nervous if I was a Devils fan. Is while I like Tom Fitzgerald, what I said earlier, he hasn't shown that aggressiveness when it comes to making moves like this. He's made some good moves in the offseason, but you don't have to be overly aggressive to trade a second-round pick to get Vitek Vanacek or trade Ty Smith and a pick to get John Marino, right?
Right. Yeah, you need to actively be bothersome when you're going after a big name like a Timo Meier.
Absolutely. So
I will say this because this isn't going to happen, but it would be kind of fun because they're not going to do this in division. But imagine Vegas getting him.
That was a team that I brought up. Now, granted, I do think the Sharks would do it in division, but it would have to be a ransom.
It has to be
oh my God.
It has to be the best of the best kind of offer, right?
Like I'm talking probably like 3 first-round picks from Vegas.
Now, let me say this. I don't think Vegas would have a problem doing that.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
Because I mean, if the past comes to say anything about that,
extreme willingness to say fuck them picks,
especially picks that they've already selected guys with.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the top 3 right now, though: St. Louis, Carolina, and New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I think he will probably end up being a Devil. But I do think that Carolina, the edge that I give to Carolina is they're more aggressive. Now, and I could see them being willing to part with more.
Explain the St. Louis one for a minute, because this really only started circulating since last night. And it's like, you just sold off Ryan O'Reilly and Nola Chari. What are you doing trying to buy right now?
I actually like it. And the reason that I like it is because you now have 3 first-round picks.
Right. And I'm not saying that I don't like them going after him.
I just
don't get it. As a selling team, I don't get it.
The concern I have is, he matches up with a timeline for the forward core. Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou.
Sure.
But he does not match the defensive core.
No.
Which is very, very old.
They're very old. They're very slow. Colton Parayko is their best one, and
he's the best defenseman, but his play's fallen off. Justin Falk's a good offensive defenseman, but he's not really a top pair guy. He's probably a second pair guy at this point in his career.
Yeah.
Torrey Krug's not what he used to be. Nick Leddy's way overpaid.
Yep, Nick Leddy is way over the hump. They already dealt
Nico Mikkola, so that's a defense.
I forgot about Mikkola being a part of that Tarasenko deal.
He lost a bottom sixer and Nola Chari. Obviously, you're not bringing Ryan O'Reilly back as you dealt him. So I understand that they want to build a forward court around Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, and I think Timo Meier fits there perfectly. And you have the assets now to do it because of these previous trades. I just don't know if it makes a ton of sense to do it, considering the other glaring holes on your roster.
Don't neglect your defense.
Defense and goaltending seem to be pretty important in hockey.
Don't neglect your defense and look at the hothead you've got in your net right now. The Blues, the Blues, in terms of their 2 goalies, have probably the worst personalities in net in all of hockey.
Yeah.
Because you have a hothead crybaby in Jordan Binnington.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate saying this on our show, but I mean, it needs said. You have a literal Nazi in Thomas Greiss.
Yeah.
Which, yeah. That just felt weird saying that to you. You know what I mean? It's
it's something that but just saying it out loud, just ugh.
It's just
it makes me worse.
Yeah, it's just oh God. So I don't know. It's yeah.
Not only is the production bad,
but he's one of the worst.
It is really bad.
Yeah, but he's also one of the worst people you could probably ever meet.
Yeah.
In terms of belief system,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
like right. Okay, so the one guy,
okay, yeah.
the one guy, his contract expires. He's probably gonna be out of the league because he's no good.
He's old and bad, and yes,
they got no prospect pool for the goaltenders.
no.
Who's waiting in the wings?
You got rid of Billy
Alice.
You got rid of Billy Husso, who was very promising for you.
Like, I know it was a small sample size, and I know it's hindsight, but man, like, I think the reason I would have dealt Binnington and kept Husso was not so much of how good Husso was last year. It was just because he would have been cheaper, and because even if he wasn't good, he's not an ass. You'd rather have Husso at a 904 save percentage than Binnington at a 904 save percentage, because Husso's not trying to fake fight everybody.
Husso,
and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Husso would shrug it off.
Yeah.
Like,
so I don't know. St. Louis, we've gotten on a little bit of a tangent here, but St. Louis, I don't think makes a ton of sense. I think it will ultimately probably come down to Carolina and New Jersey.
It's funny keeping the guy that told. It's funny keeping the guy that told Martin Brodeur to go F himself.
Yeah.
Like, over a dude that just like would keep his cool and be fine.
Versus a guy who would not tell Marty Brodeur to go fuck himself.
Yeah. Okay,
so confirm has never said
it. Patty Kane, Jonathan Taves, Timo Meier, Ryan O'Reilly. We obviously have that deal done. That was the first domino to fall.
Do we have?
I don't really know, because those are the other, like we've talked about our guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like even really, because
Troy Terry, I think, will probably stay in Anaheim.
I think he'll stay.
I think he'll Brock Boeser.
Oh yeah, Brock
Boeser, I think, is going to be the backup plan for either Carolina or New Jersey. So whichever team gets Timo Meier, the other team that misses out is probably going to get Brock Boeser.
That's fair.
Shane Gostisbehere is an interesting one.
Ghost could stay. Like, that's the thing. Ooh. Like, you know, what if
I wouldn't mind that. I like Ghost.
What if Ghost ends up staying? Like, hey, you know, you have, what could a team like Nashville do? Right? Ekholm, could he still be on the move?
Pat.
Could, you know, what do you do? If you're Ekholm, or if you're Nashville, could you like try to deal like a Carrier or someone like that?
They feel like a very small moves kind of deadline team.
Yeah. I know people have talked about the possibility of maybe trying to pry Saros from them.
Oof. That would be intriguing.
Like a Saros or even a Yossi from Nashville. I don't know. I kind of half see Poile doing something like that. I don't see it because I think he's smart enough not to, and yet I think he's also dumb enough to fall for something because he's been there forever. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. The only other one that I can think of that's like not like gigantically major, but is gonna inevitably happen is Luke Shen.
Jenner, yeah, he's sitting out tonight, so who knows? Shenner, Tyler Myers, possibly. You know,
I think that so funny enough, a team that should look at Luke Shen.
Toronto. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Toronto absolutely should look.
Not even just because the connection that he's been there before, but just because he fits what they need. He's a third pair defensive defenseman who's actually put up good results these last 2 years. He's physical. He's cheap.
We've talked about how Justin Hall has more good games than bad.
But he is.
But when he has bad ones, they are abysmally bad.
He is good Branson bad.
And you need someone to fix those small holes. Right? And Luke Shen can do that.
Absolutely.
Trying to think of teams that could buy. What could a team like Seattle look for? What could a team like Tampa what could Tampa look for this year? Right?
Yeah, that's interesting. Tampa, I think they're probably going to be more off the radar, which is kind of what they've been these last few years. Because I don't think anybody projected that Tampa Bay Lightning were going to send a first-round pick for Barclay Goodrow.
Right.
I don't think anybody expected them to trade as many first-round picks as they did to the Blackhawks for Brandon Hagel, but they did. Their solution, which has worked, is we're going to be willing to trade high picks for guys with term who are cheap, who can fill a certain part of our lineup.
Plug holes by committee with guys like Perbix.
Perbix has been fantastic for them.
He's been awesome, right?
Yeah. I think they're fine on defense because Bogosian has played fine in Tampa. Perbix fills a hole for them. Their defense has recovered from losing McDonough very well. Their forward group has dealt with the loss of Andre Palat very well, which is part of the reason that they got Brandon Hagel to begin with, because that was kind of the idea that he had in mind. So I think Tampa, as far as I'm concerned with them, their move is going to be something that's a little off the board.
Yeah.
Seattle, two guys that I think they should look at. One is Korpi.
Yeah.
Because I think they need some help in net. And the other guy that's also very intriguing is if Nashville wants to make any moves and maybe get some picks, Kevin Lankinen.
Yeah.
Lanks has played well this season for them and has been a fit. So who knows? Maybe Nashville wants to keep Lanks to be their backup for a couple more years. Maybe they come to an extension. But if that's not something that's going to present itself to them, Seattle's potentially a team that they should look at maybe making a trade with. Teams
that are surprising sellers could be teams like the Panthers, the Flames, maybe. Who knows? Teams that are really mushy.
So one team that I think might sell, and it's all dependent on the next week and a half. The Caps.
Yeah, because the Caps are they're older than dirt, man.
They're old. They got Dmitry Orlov as a UFA.
You're right.
They want to pay him the money to keep him around. So they've got a couple pieces that
you just signed 2 extensions worth decent money in term in Dylan Strome and gosh, who was the other one? I can't remember off the top of my head, unfortunately.
I can't either, to be honest with you. But here are the guys that I'm looking at. So one is obviously Dmitry Orlov. The other one that's very interesting is Nick Jensen.
Yeah, Jensen's one that's come up.
Jensen for Norris.
Oh, friggin' dude. How did I forget? It was Sunny.
Oh, yeah.
How did I forget that it was Sunny? Jeez.
Hey, I forgot it too. Don't worry. So yeah, they've got 2 defensemen worth note that are expiring. That's Dmitry Orlov and future Norris winner Nick Jensen. I like both these guys. Who knows? Maybe if they do decide to sell, that's the guy that Tampa looks at is Nick Jensen.
You think the Penguins buy?
Yes. Slight buyers. I don't think they're going to make a gigantic splash. I think that Kapanen could be on the move.
Yeah, Kapanen's a name that's been floating out there. Maybe even DeSmith. I know Jari is out longer.
Yeah.
Still. Or no, wait, I think I read he was...
I think Jari just came back.
He just came back. Yeah. His first game back since January 2nd. It was wild. But I'm just trying. Oh yeah, to return has only played 3 games since January 2nd. Poor Jari. tough on the guy. But yeah, we got our obvious buyers in teams like the Devils and teams making those kinds of pushes. The Leafs, the Knights, the Jets are a little bit more of like, ooh, what could they do? You know, a lot of the
I think the Jets probably will make a move. They're another team that's kind of a slight buyer. They might make like you remember when we traded like a pick for Lori Korpikoski?
Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember that.
That feels like kind of the deadline that the Jets are going to have.
Like when we traded to get Jussi Jokinen.
Oh man, that was a great
move. Another slight
now buy. You see him, now you don't.
Another slight buy, maybe like Dallas, Colorado.
Dallas, I could see trying to potentially get a right-hand shot defenseman. I know they like Niels Lundqvist a lot, but obviously, they're not, going into the playoffs this year. I know he's been terrible, but they don't have John Klingberg anymore because obviously he left in the offseason. So they might be looking for a defenseman who can log some of those minutes that they used to have a guy who ate.
I know Kulikov's a name out there being floated.
Kulikov's also a name for sure for, a team that needs a third pair defenseman.
And then there are teams that are like just kind of looking to improve for the next year, right? Detroit that's almost there, a Buffalo that's almost there.
Buffalo's one of the more interesting teams this deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do anything and try to make more moves, say, in the offseason, whether it be through trade or free agency. But I'm also not ruling them out for trying to make something happen.
Right.
If for anything, just for the fans.
Yeah.
Just to give them a move to be excited about and to say, you know what? We're close, and we want to make a little bit of a push here because you guys deserve this.
Teams like the Kings upgrading from within, extending a guy like Mikey Anderson. What a great deal. What a great deal for Mikey Anderson.
So the Kings, what do they need, Jake?
Goaltending, really bad. Yeah.
Like really bad.
Like cheap Korpisalo bad. Like
Korpisalo or Lankinen, like either one of those guys.
I just love
why not get both of them? Get both Korpisalo and Lankinen. Those guys are like best friends.
What's that? What's the commercial with the little girl that's like, why not both?
Oh yeah. Why not both? They're both close friends. They train together in Finland in the off season. Why not? Why not do it?
Minnesota could use maybe a tinkering kind of upgrade to go for the playoffs.
I think they need a left winger and a defenseman. So if they could go out and maybe get like a Zach Parise or a Ryan Suter, that would really help
them. What do you think? Because Florida, Calgary, they're both fairly out of the race after they made a huge couple splashes.
So if they wanted to make a big move, one thing that they could do is potentially trade Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan
Huberdeau for Matt Tkachuk.
No, the Panthers I don't see buying. The Flames are very, very weird.
Yeah.
We don't know where they're at with their coach. We don't know where they're at with some of their players and their happiness right now.
Yeah, and we talked about that last show.
I'm going to make the argument that the biggest move that they could make before the deadline is not a trade.
It's a firing.
It's a coaching change. Now, will they do it?
No.
I don't think they will.
No. I'm straight up saying no.
Is it something they should consider?
Yes. Absolutely.
You're goddamn right it is.
Yeah. Boston's near perfect.
That's so they're gonna get Gavrikov.
Yeah, so they don't need
do they need them? I mean, they're
hell.
They're perfect.
It's like what? I mean, yeah, their captain's Patrice Bergeron. Can you get any more perfect?
No.
No,
It's not possible.
it's not. I do like what teams are like. From what we know that teams are planning to do, I like what they're trying to do.
Yes.
Teams that feel like they're fine, that can stand pat. I think it depends.
Yeah.
There are some teams like a Dallas that I'm like, they could stay pat if they wanted.
You shouldn't stand pat, though, in a first year of Pete DeBoer, though, because it's your best chance of winning a title. So they should go all in.
Yeah, right. But that's what I'm saying is like there are some teams that have, like, it feels like a lot of teams already have what they need, right?
Like Colorado's probably gonna make some moves, but I don't think they really need to because their issue isn't their team; it's just their health.
Right,
They
exactly.
just need to get freaking healthy, and then they're gonna be fine.
Yeah. A team like Carolina,
Carolina's gonna make some moves, but God, I mean, it doesn't feel like they need to make many moves. They think they're fine as is.
I think they're fine. The Oilers still need just a little bit of help, like they've always needed.
I mean, they need a defense. They need a backup goaltender.
No, you know what
they need a bottom six.
Jay, they need a general manager.
Shit, they need a lot of things. Here's one thing I'll say, and I know that this is just the trailer headline episode, but this is one thing I'm going to reiterate a couple times in the next couple of weeks leading up to the playoffs. This is a big year for Carolina.
Yeah, and okay,
because
so
I know that they're not viewed in the same way that, say, the Leafs are, because they went to a conference final in 2019 when they were super young and it was unexpected and it was so much fun. Because they upset the Caps and then they swept the Islanders.
But they've continued that success
in the regular season. And it has not translated to postseason success.
Not all the way, but they've at least done more to show that they can stick around and they can actually win a little bit here and there and make.
The standard, though, is not Toronto, where we laugh at them about never making it out of the first round of the playoffs. The fact of the matter is since they made the fun run in 2019 when they were super young and it was unexpected. But since then, they've been considered a legitimate Stanley Cup contender every single year, from 2020 all the way up to this year. And they haven't gotten past the second round of the playoffs once in any of those years.
Right.
And my argument is they need to this season. If they don't, that's a major problem.
You need a conference final at the very least.
At the very least. Because I'm not saying a conference final loss is great for them because they're a team that should really be contending for a Stanley Cup. Now,
but
granted, if you look at the conference final to Boston, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But if you don't get past the second round this year, there needs to be conversations about Carolina and not getting it done in the postseason.
You got to take a step, right?
Yes.
Take a step, guys. Now, I will say, since we're on Carolina, and I think we've pretty much talked about everybody and their needs and who can stand pat and what a lot of the sellers are probably going to do. Teams that are probably going to buy here and there, small buys, big buys.
Yeah.
Whatever. Speaking of the Hurricanes, they played in an outdoor game and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, so I kind of agreed with what Pete Blackburn was trying to say on Twitter, which was I'm not sure that Canes Caps is the most, eye-grabbing game.
No.
Not to mention the fact that it was at Carter Finley Stadium, which is NC State Stadium. It's not a really notable site. I'm not saying it's a bad stadium. I don't know. I've never been there, but it's not like the Shoe or the Big House or any of those big venues, whatnot. We just heard today that it's rumored that the Devils and Rangers are going to be playing at MetLife.
Yes, and that's
They've already done that before at Citi Field, and that's a big rivalry, and that will get eyes. But I'm impressed with Carolina. We all know that their fans are awesome. They got one of the better fan bases in the league in terms of They're very passionate.
They're fun. The storm surges are really fun.
Yeah, whether you like the storm surge or not, like they're very engaging fan base. They really get behind their team. They care about them. They show up. They're extremely loud, especially.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No doubt about it. And they showed up for this event and they made it fun. And it was a great opportunity for, Carolina to show off themselves more as a fan base to the entire league and show out on a national stage in a football stadium and whatnot. It was a really cool event and it was done well.
Hey, real quick, because this is just something that popped into my head, Carolina wise. Fun trade chip that they could have as a piece. A guy like Dylan Coughlin. I know they just got him
because
but they like Jalen Chatfield more.
He's been impressive this year.
He's been great.
Yeah, I've been surprised by him. It's an interesting note too, for sure.
Running down the box score of the game really quick. First of all, I'm sure the presentation was awesome.
It was.
Stadium Series presentation, like any outdoor game presentation, as long as they're able to control certain things, it's always done very well. It's always pretty fun. The Stadium Series
2-0 currently on the Blues. Mr. Svechnikov with 2.
Nice. But the thing is, with the Stadium Series versus the Winter Classic, you really need your Stadium Series to be like, okay, this is pushing into the future of things, right? We've talked about that before.
Yes.
With the way they design the jerseys and all of that kind of fun stuff. You want that to be more for your younger audience.
Absolutely.
Right? Running down the box score really quick. Kokaniemi's 10th from Teravainen and Natchez. And then Stastny from Chatfield and Martinuk, our boy Martinuk. We love that guy. Natchez scores from Burns and Kokaniemi. Teravainen from Natchez and Anderson. And then Tom Wilson from Sonny Milano ruined the shutout. And that's it.
Tom Wilson, baby. I'm surprised that Turbo only has 7 goals this season. But it was a fun game.
I'm kind of surprised Kokaniemi only has 10, but then again, like his positioning in the lineup.
Exactly. They always play him in the bottom 6. So I'm not like crazy surprised by that. But really cool event. Happy for them. But
that was only Tom's third goal of the season, considering he's been out all year.
Yeah.
But
I'm just wondering where we go from here, because they showed a willingness to kind of let like a smaller market, all things considered.
Here's where we go from here. And this is something that, I read up this morning, right? It was another piece on when's Columbus's turn, right?
It's not coming.
That's the thing. It's not coming anytime soon. And the big reason why, Carolina's building a winning team. You need a winner first.
This is what's frustrating, though, is Carolina's about to, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. Okay. That's 4 years in a row that they made the playoffs.
Right.
And then they get a stadium. We made the playoffs 4 years in a row.
And
that was our game.
Yeah. Where was ours? Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they're building a good. Yeah. We built a winning team for a little bit there, too. We won 50 games in a season. Like we had a big upset in the playoffs. Like, I know it hasn't been as much success as what Carolina's gone through, because they went to a conference final. But I just hate this idea that it's like, this excuse of, well, Carolina's building a winning team and
right.
Yada, yada. Well, okay. We didn't get it when we were winning games. It's not coming. It's not. And I know people are going to bring up, well, the team stinks. Yeah, the team stinks, but I don't think that really has anything to do with it. They don't have it in Columbus.
There's no interest. Part of it's the deal with just how they market players and teams in general.
It's the issue with how they market teams and players in general. It's an issue with Ohio State has absolutely zero interest in helping us out with this.
Give us another 5 years and maybe we'll get an away stadium series, guys. Like, maybe.
I'm done complaining about it.
It's just like, man.
I'm done complaining about it. And there's 2 reasons I'm done complaining about it. One is just the simple notion of if you expect nothing, you cannot get hurt.
Right.
But 2, I don't pay attention to most of these games anyways.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like I know like it would be a cool event for Columbus to have, and I understand why people want it, but like I can't sit here and complain all the damn time about Columbus not getting an outdoor game when I don't watch most of them to begin with.
And it's so
the outdoor games have lost their luster. We've had this conversation before.
It's definitely different when you get a chance, like if you're lucky enough to pay to go and experience the whole thing.
And people had that experience this past weekend. Ohio State played Michigan up at First Energy Stadium, and there was 45,000 people in the audience.
The Monsters outdoor game's coming up, people.
Yeah, I might go to that.
Which, by the way, those jerseys look sick.
Those jerseys look awesome.
Those jerseys look so good.
So, like, outdoor games, they're fun, but the reason they're fun for Ohio State and Michigan is because those don't happen all the damn time in the Big Ten. The reason it's going to be exciting for the Monsters is, God, those don't happen often for the Monsters. But when you're looking at a league in general, like the National Hockey League, God, you've got so many damn outdoor games every year. Now, I understand that actually adds to the frustration of, like, we have so many of these. Why can't we get one? But, like, I don't know. I don't watch these freaking games. I can't continue to convince myself to care about not getting an outdoor game when I don't watch them to begin with.
It's weird. For me, I'm on the side of, I'll be patient enough, but please eventually just give us one, right? Make it fun, make the matchup a decent one, make it a good venue. I don't care where it is. Just when the time's right, give us one. Right?
Yeah, it's like the championship sign where it's like, just one before I die.
yeah. Just one before I die. Just give us a
That's
good.
That's the title of this episode. Just one before I die.
Just give us a Gavrikov trade before I die, please.
Yeah. That's just 1 and a 3 before I die.
Just 1 and a 3. Oh man. Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on trades as they come, and who knows, maybe the Gavi trade will be finalized like when this goes up in the morning.
Hopefully.
Right? Who knows? But we'll see you on Saturday, and if another trade breaks, we'll have it then.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.